Welcome to The Art of Dress. Today, I'm very happy to share with you styling for composite artistry. So thank you for coming and subscribing. In discussing composite artistry, you're going to find the name of Karl Lagerfeld coming up many times because as a designer, he used his composite artistry in his styling over and over and over again, giving us many examples of the different kinds of styling that you can use for composite. This is one of his last fashion shows, and here you see Cara Delevingne wearing composite artistry in this Chanel suit. So the most striking aspect of it is that she's just emphasizing around her neck, which is an example of number one, the styling number for composite artistry. And this is the easiest way, or the most simple way to accomplish it, is wearing an eternity scarf, although in this case, he made it very, very prominent. Other aspects of composite artistry are showing up here though, and that is in the piping at the pockets. You can see that that's right at her waistline because composite balances waist and throat, usually, base of the neck, I should say. And then also the kind of purse that she's wearing with a short strap and with a, that has a closure. So let's talk about the qualities of form that lead into this kind of styling. Here you have the composite symbol, and at the bottom, soft, 3D, and solid. So softness, meaning also flexible and, that doesn't have a rigidity. And then it, in conjunction with that, three-dimensional. So three-dimensional meaning not flat. So so you have not straight either. It's a curvature that you get. And it doesn't have to be that every form is completely curved, but it ends up forming curves by the use usually of many forms. And then the solidity, which also means filled in, not open, and nothing like you see with a hoop earring. So those are the three aspects of form, and this is what they lead to in the first place. A very simple necklace shown here by Jasmine Tooks for D², and just the simplest of all possible styling at her torso and head. She's not wearing an earring, she's not wearing anything in her hair, and she's wearing just basically a single necklace. Now, if you ask about the arms, like why is she wearing gloves and bracelets, that is because artistry really talks about forms, and in terms of styling number is really talking about upper torso and head, and that's all. So when you talk about the number one, you're talking about just at the base of her neck because she is soft. If she used firm forms, she would be emphasizing her head, which is firm. Instead, she's emphasizing the soft part of her, which is her torso. And so that's why she would wear only the necklace and nothing on her head at all, so that it would be stronger. But there are, of course, many other ways to do this, and that is because composite not only has number one number for styling, but also has the largest number, number 8. So besides the most minimal can also be the maximal, you could say maximalism. And you can see this is explained to us by Karl Lagerfeld in the early 90s on Yasmin Gari, and he's showing how the necklace divides into 3 when it is significant, and how the belt divides into 3 when it is significant. He's basically deconstructing. And so if you add the 3 from the belt and the 3 from the neck to earrings and head, that's where you get 8. In the case of everyday wear today, this is an example of a really excellent composite necklace with sort of the inner part where it comes to the base of her throat, and then she has the second part, which is the white filled in with red, and then these gemstones on the outside. The necklace curves a little bit. I'm sure that in another time she would be able to find it with even more curvature, but it also curves this way. And so it is a really lovely example of a very dressy necklace. And again, you can see here that the necklace is significantly more important than her earrings. Just a beautiful dressy necklace. Here's another example of a dressy necklace, this one done by Karl Lagerfeld, again on Yasmin Ghauri for Chanel. And you can see he's not using 3 strands this time, but it is significant, which is what matters. And then an earring that's also, the forms are soft, 3-dimensional and filled in, but no match for the significance of the necklace. This hat is really big, but it's also really soft. It's so beautiful. And the softness is achieved by fabrics, which is very common. Now, the reason that she's able to wear this kind of a strap here is because this kind of a necklace that's a pendant is because this is actually emulating her neckline from her style. She wears a crossed halter. If you saw her style video, you saw this kind of a strap happening up at the base of her throat many, many times. And also a refined gammon could do this as well. But for other composites, it would be very difficult to wear this under this strappy kind of, this fabric kind of a pendant here that's actually looking like part of her clothing. And so the necklace itself would be a lot better choice for most people, but because of who she is, she can get away with both. Just beautiful on her. Another dressy look, this one is done with a really interesting belt and necklace combination. And you can see that both are elaborate and they kind of match, which is very, very common for composites, that the necklace and the belt are similar in emphasis. Although the necklace is maybe a little bit stronger, but this is both part of the torso, and that is what artistry is talking about, head and torso. And again, she's wearing earrings that are still soft, 3-dimensional and filled in like her necklace. And then she's wearing a hat that's a little bit stiff, but it's just, it is bringing more emphasis, 2 points of emphasis to her head. So, and the necklace is very strong, so it's still really the strongest feature. And then her bracelet is using composite forms as well. You can tell she's wearing one, which means she is in Omega style. A very, very beautiful example of dressy composite styling. Now let's look at some more casual types of styling. This is a vintage one because I wanted to show you how often the wide belts that were worn in the 90s were not only wide, but soft and divided into 3. It was so common. And then the necklace is a significant bead paired with a smaller one. So you're still getting this idea of multiplicity here. And then she's wearing the sort of a bead earring with a really soft scarf, which was very common and a very wonderful way to achieve emphasis at the head for her. Now, it's actually kind of a headband, I guess, in fact, rather than a scarf worn over her head. So that's a vintage look. I just wanted to show you from real life something that was so much fun to see, which is Cardi B wearing this fantastic ensemble that looks so amazing on her. Good for you, Cardi, because this totally composite, iconic look, and she is composite. Neck, and far more important, neck than earring, and again, belt, far more important. Notice, I don't know if you know this, but this is actually a remake of an iconic look that was worn by Linda Evangelista for Karl Lagerfeld and Chanel back in the 90s. So it's really a great choice for her to pick this up because she looks fantastic. Another way to achieve this strong emphasis on the body, and it's of course so soft, is a kind of blouse that was very common back in the 90s. And this is a tie blouse. And you can see that the soft blouse gave you the chance to use a tied fabric around the neck, and then she has a brooch or a pin on top of it with 3-dimensional soft filled-in forms. She's also wearing a significant kind of belt, and it ties into her earring. Overall, really cute look for composite. Even softer maybe is this one. It looks like it's made of feathers or maybe just kind of tattered bits of cloth. And also very significant, showing 1, 2, 3 with the black in the middle. And then she has a belt that is some kind of braided, which is very common for composite. And you can see that kind of a button closure there. Very nice for composite. Also the hat that she's wearing, this kind of a soft pull-on hat, is wonderful for composites, and it's very, very common and very becoming for all composites. So just wonderful example. And then she's using a composite kind of really soft things on her forearms. And again, the placement of that comes from her coloring, but the forms come from her artistry, from being composite. Just beautiful. Here's Daphne Greenfield for D Squared again. Lovely modern use of composite styling. Soft, curved at her head, also contained, like it's not open like a visor or something, but it's the top of her head. So that's really cute for her. A small earring, that three-dimensional filled in and soft. Just a fake fur thrown around her at the neck, and then kind of a significant belt. Really, really cute example of composite styling. This necklace is worn that is made of gemstones, like they're semi-precious, I'm sure, that is multiple strands of different sizes, and it ends up so soft and also so beautiful, just 3D and contained, like filled in forms, just wonderful. And then she's pairing that with another leather belt this time, and you can see how timeless this outfit is. This is it looks like Chanel, I'm not positive, but it looks like it. And then she has a button earring, much smaller than her necklace, and a soft kind of hat with a veil. Just beautiful example of styling for the composites. And a more sort of modern look, but you can see equally timeless as the last one, this time with sunglasses instead of a hat, a button earring, and multiple strands of pearls at her neck. And again, it looks like Chanel. So, so cute. Yasmin wearing composite styling with this kind of a fur. This actually even looks like fake fur around her neck, and then a soft wrap around her head with a significant belt. And then that's taken back in the 90s. Here's a more modern look worn by Leah Cabede. And again, this is probably suede or fabric wrapped around her neck, and then a belt, a braided leather belt at her waist with a head wrap for a more modern kind of composite. Although this picture is from the 90s, this is a really good example of a number of things, and it has to do with everyday styling. So this bomber jacket that was very popular has this band that starts at the waist and just goes down a little bit. And it does quite a few things. And one of the things it does is it brings emphasis to the waistline. So this is a way for composites. This is something that's going to feel so comfortable for all composites. And it can be done in more than one way. So in this case, the band is built into the jacket. But that is also what you see when you wear a sweatshirt. Usually, or many times, a sweatshirt will have a band at the bottom of it. And that not only does it pull the sweatshirt up, which is the contained aspect, the solid aspect of forms for composite, but it also brings emphasis to the waist. So that's why it's so becoming and also so comfortable. If you're wearing a t-shirt and it doesn't have a band, you can just tuck it in at your pant or your short or your waist of whatever, and that will also do the same thing for you. It doesn't have to be all the way tucked in. It can be just one corner, one edge of it, and it brings in this feeling of the solidity, the filled in aspect of composite forms. And then again, wearing any kind of a turtleneck or a loose, it's not talking so much about a tight turtleneck, because that takes you more into architectural. But when it's loose and open like this this is what gives you the softness and three-dimensional and containment of composite forms. And so, as I mentioned, it doesn't even have to be big. I'll show you another example with Jasmine Tooks here. And she's wearing a dress that has just this turned over collar. And you can see how fantastic that is to her. And even without wearing a belt, you can see that just by having this little bit of gather at the waist, just on the sides, it's giving her this very beautiful balance that belongs to composite, with the emphasis at her neck and a little bit of a noticing of the waist, and just beautiful. Now, her purse is also composite. Look at how, first of all, it's soft. It's also three-dimensional and curved, and then it closes solidly, and it has a short strap. So those are the elements of filled in. I call it filled in or solid, but that's what it does to purses. It shortens, and it also causes them to close solidly. Now, besides showing you Cardi B, I wanted to show you another person from real life that is from the past, but Frida Kahlo. And Frida Kahlo is a well-known Mexican artist, and as you perhaps know, a movie was made about her by Salma Hayek. I think it was her project. I don't know if I think she co-wrote it, and she also starred in it, and then she co-produced it. And you can see here, she's wearing, first of all, 2 points of emphasis at her head. So maximal styling, but what really you want. And then her forms, it's a braided headpiece. So I mentioned that for composite before, frequently wears this kind of braided form. Her earrings are soft, three-dimensional, and filled in, and her necklace is more significant, but also three-dimensional, filled in, and soft. And then she's just pulling in her waist, but when she was, before her tragic accident and before she had her surgery, she often wore that kind of a wide wrap belt. So you can see that even when she was no longer able to do it with these clothes, she's still pulling in her garments there and showing this kind of balance of styling that really is composite artistry. So I would like to show you one last example, just because I think this is one of the best examples of composite artistry. The hat has a really soft band, but the hat itself is a little stiff, no question. But the earrings are beautiful, and then she has this fantastic necklace, very significant. And the reason that Arlena Sosa here, she's our true natural who is composite, the reason she can wear this scale is because she is aqua watercoloring, which is a pretty large scale for earrings and for all of her styling. So she can wear this great example of soft three-dimensional and solid kind of necklace, and then paired with a wide belt that also shows softness and three-dimensional and filled in and divides itself into 3. And then she does that again with her bracelets, soft three-dimensional, filled in. So fantastic. And the bracelets, of course, are doubled because she's an alpha style, and she was wearing emphasis at her wrist because of her coloring. So in so many ways, this is so harmonious and so pleasing to the eye, to everyone's eye, because it is so in connection with her style, her artistry, her coloring. It's just fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing this with me today. And this is the final styling. This is the 4th one. And then we have one more artistry video. We're going to look at artistry and the use of three-dimensional space. So going to show artistry for forward and back, and also for side to side, and also for above and below. So that will be next week. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you again for subscribing, and take care.